How's everyone doing? Good? Give yourself a round of applause for coming out tonight. I really want to thank you guys for coming this evening. I love what I do at Socialfly, especially when I get to apply my expertise and help other business owners grow and help others who are in a digital space and really looking to learn more about social media. You can ask my husband. I will gladly spend a night at home on a Saturday night optimizing a client's Facebook ads versus going out. He really likes those nights. It's true. I also really want to commend you guys for coming out here to learn more about social media, because coming out and learning, that's really half the battle. So you have to get started. So all too often, we really see brands and businesses leaving their social strategy in the hands of an intern. And what I'm going to show you today is why you really can't do that. Social really is where it is and how businesses can reach their target customers. So, Caitlin, next slide. So, we're getting close. It's not going. One slide in and we have technical difficulty, but we're going to keep going. Presentation is over, no. There we go. Yay.
Thank you.
Show must go on. All right. So these are some stats I want you guys to take a look at. There are close to 2 billion monthly active users on Facebook. There are over 600 million monthly active users on Instagram. So what this means is that your current customers, they are on social media, and what this also means is that your future customers are on social media. Can you imagine asking a college intern to be responsible for leveraging this type of reach? That would be like asking Justin Bieber to be the CEO of Spotify just because he knows how to put out a hit record. Wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that. While being a digital native in this landscape really helps, at Socialfly we know it takes a team to really execute a full social media strategy. Content creators, analysts, account supervisors, account directors, it really does take a whole team to pull off the full strategy. So tonight, I'm really looking forward to demystifying all the nuances of this space so you and your internal teams can create more effective and efficient content and have a real strategy. So how do you guys know that I actually know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna do something right now that as a brand you should absolutely never do on social media. 2 minutes of shameless self-promotion. I will be fast. So I founded Socialfly back in 2012 with my business partner Courtney. That's her right here. And this was a time when most agencies were not focusing solely on social media. So we've always been a pure social media agency. We really saw how valuable social media was for businesses because we were first generation users of all social channels, and we really knew how to speak the language. And as social media channels diversified and began developing advertising platforms, we were able to understand this data better than traditional marketing agencies and PR agencies. We've also cultivated relationships with influencers, which is why brands now come to us when they're looking to reach their audience through networks of influencers. Next slide. So our mission statement, you can see right here at Socialfly, we provide strategic social media solutions to our clients by pairing creative content and analytics that deliver measurable results. 2016 was a very big year for us. We doubled our team in size. We released our first book, which you guys have a chance to win tonight, which is The Entrepreneur's Guide to Using Social Media to Grow Your Business. And we expanded our influencer marketing services, which I'm going to talk to you more about. What I really want to talk to you about right now is that there are an infinite number of marketing possibilities for brands to successfully navigate the social media space. But at Socialfly, the first question we ask our clients before we can even begin working with them is why are they using social media? So anyone here who is a business owner or if you're working on client accounts, this is the one question you really have to ask yourselves is why you're using social media. And what I'm going to go through right now are 5 buckets or 5 reasons why you might, as a business owner or brand, be using social media. And at least one of them should resonate with you and should be a reason, and it might be a few of them. So the first one is you might have a business or a product and you really want to explain what that product is or what your business does. So a good example of product marketing on social media is this example, which I can't play. It's a screenshot from the Google Home video that explains, it's an explainer video. It explains exactly what the product is. So that's a potential reason number one. Number two, you want to show your brand values or what your brand stands for, and we would call this brand building. So this is an example of actually one of our current clients. It's Premio Sausages. I don't know if anyone's ever had Premio before at Yankee Stadium back there. Yes? They're so good, right? So it's very important that Premio gives back. So we ran a campaign where anyone who submitted a recipe to Premio would then donate a healthy meal to Feeding America because they wanted to show that they're a company that gives back. Number three, brand awareness. So many people really want people to recognize their brand. So this example here, I actually thought this was from last year, but time flies. This is actually from 2014. Do you guys remember the tweet during the Grammys when Arby's tweeted about Pharrell's hat? Anyone here remember that? It was all over the news. So what Arby's was able to do is they inserted themselves into the conversation of pop culture during the Grammys because Pharrell wore a hat that looked like the Arby's logo. And they said, hey Pharrell, can we have our hat back? And this received over 70,000 retweets, and many media channels were talking about this. The next reason you might want to be using social media is for customer service and outreach or community management. So here's an example. At one time we were working with a company called Finishing Touch, which is a women's shaving product. And we saw on Twitter that there were a lot of women that were talking about problems they have shaving. So here someone said, I hate when I miss a spot shaving. It's the most annoying feeling ever on my leg, #girl problems. And as the brand, we interjected ourselves into the conversation and said, #girl solutions are Freedom Hair Remover. They're perfect for missed spots with a link. So it's a great way to be able to listen, which is social listening, and inserting yourself into a conversation. And finally, driving sales. So many of you here who own businesses and clients who come to us, everyone says, of course, they want to drive sales, but driving sales on social media doesn't happen overnight. So here's an example. One of our clients, Nest Fragrances, just released one of their new scents, and their founder, Laura Slotkin, we created a video and posted on social media to explain what their new scent is, why she created it, with a link to purchase. So now that you know why you're using social media, the next step is to figure out who do you want to target? Who is your target demographic? Who is your audience? And where are they spending their time? So as you guys know, I'm sure many of you are on probably almost all of these platforms. There's Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google+, the list goes on. More platforms are added every single day. And just because another brand is using Instagram, it doesn't mean that that's where your business has to be. So you really need to figure out who your exact target demographic is. People will come to us and say, oh, I heard Facebook is dead, we shouldn't be on Facebook. But the truth is, if you're looking to reach a demographic of people that are 30 plus, they are spending a significant amount of time on Facebook. And Facebook does have the best advertising platform out of all of the social channels. So if you are looking to reach people 30 plus, you're looking to reach moms, they're spending a lot of time on Facebook. On Instagram, if you are looking to reach people who are anywhere from 13 to 35 years old, 90% of users are under 35 years old on Instagram. So it could make sense to have a content strategy on Instagram. Twitter, if you're in a business or own a business where there's heavy customer service, it could make sense to spend time on Twitter. But you really need to figure out what the strategy is on each platform and how you're going to reach your audience. You don't need to just set up an account on every platform just because you think you should be there. So, Snapchat. How many people here have a Snapchat account? I'd say that's about half the people in the room. So this is another question that we get all of the time. Everyone's talking about Snapchat. They're filing for their IPO. Brands come to us and say, we need to get on Snapchat right now. And our answer to them is, you're trying to reach people that are 45 to 65 years old. Sure, it might make sense for you to learn how to use Snapchat because your kids are on it, you need to know what they're doing, but it doesn't mean that you need to have a strategy on Snapchat. If you're looking to reach the millennial audience, 15 to 35-year-olds, 30-year-olds, yes, it could make sense for you to have a strategy on Snapchat. And then the other question is, it can be very hard to build your following on Snapchat from the ground up because of the way they've designed this platform. So working with influencers, which we're going to talk about, and using the platforms you've already built a following on is a great way to be able to start to grow your Snapchat following. So again, you don't have to be on Snapchat as a brand just because everyone else is doing it. You need to figure out if that's where your audience is or that's where your customers are. And how else can you reach your target audience? So influencer marketing, this has been a buzzword over, I'd say, the past 1 to 2 years. Everyone now wants to work with influencers. People saw that Kim Kardashian was posting about different brands, and these brands were becoming an overnight success, so everyone wanted to replicate what she was doing with brands. So this is an example. We recently worked with Vera Bradley on their It's Good to Be a Girl campaign. They came to us because they were looking to reach millennial women who were not currently in their target demographic. They found their audience is typically teenagers who get their first Vera Bradley bag in high school, and then moms. But they were missing that, millennial audience from after college to before people have children. So in order to reach them, they wanted to work with influencers who were in their exact target demographic. So what we did was we contracted 26 influencers or micro-influencers. They have a niche following on Instagram between 10,000 and 75,000 followers. We sent them each a handbag, and they had to post about it and follow the instructions for the campaign to get their audience really excited about it. And Vera Bradley, as a result, they were thrilled with the results because there was so much engagement, and now an audience that they were having trouble reaching was able to rediscover that now they have a whole new line of bags that is for the working woman. So that's one example of working with influencers, micro-influencers. Another client of ours is Canada Mark Diamond. So Canada Mark came to us because they were looking to gain awareness in the US. They're known in Canada and also in the UK. And because this client had a bit of a larger budget, we were able to contract influencers with much larger followings where we could pay them a fee to post a certain amount of content. So in this specific example, how many people here have heard of the account at How He Asked? Has anyone heard of this account on Instagram? So she targets women who are about to become engaged or they're engaged, and she shares proposal stories on her account. At this time, she had over 376,000 followers, and for her to post content on behalf of a brand, she was charging then around $1,500 to post this piece of content. And this piece of content got 6,900 likes, over 250 comments, and now all of these people who had never heard about Canada Mark Diamonds, now they learned about this company and then started following them. So working with influencers is only going to become more and more important for brands, and stats are showing now that brands who are working with influencers are seeing an 11 times higher ROI than traditional forms of marketing. All right, so now we know why we're using social media, we know who our target audience is, we know what platforms we're going to be spending our time on. The next step is to figure out what type of creative you're going to make to put in front of your target audience on the right platforms. So the few things we're going to touch on now are the consistency of your content, the visuals that you're going to create, and then video, both regular video and of course what's very popular now is live video. So here you will see one of our clients, Nest Fragrances. This is how we create consistency across all of their social platforms. So this was during October, of course, around Halloween and the fall. And it's very important that when you set up all your social channels, that everything really is in line with your branding. You only have one chance to make a first impression. So again, you don't just want to, if you're starting a business, you don't want to just put up a Facebook page and a Twitter account and an Instagram account just because everyone's telling you to do it. You want to make sure you have everything that's planned out. And that you create beautiful content and beautiful assets so you can make a great impression to your potential customers. And then the visuals are also very important. And something that I always say as a rule of thumb is if you're creating a piece of content for your business or for a client, and you were to see that piece of content in your own news feed, is that something that you would actually like? And if it's not something you would actually like, then that probably means that other people might not be interested in it or wouldn't find it visually appealing. There's so much content that is out there now that you have to be able to cut through the clutter. So it's very important that you are able to create beautiful content or imagery for your brand. And it's also important to stay up to date on trends in visuals. So last year, a really big trend was the flat lays. How many people here know what a flat lay is on Instagram? So a flat lay, especially beauty brands, all different types of brands, food brands were doing flat lays where you would lay a, makeup and props down and then you take a picture from above. So that was the big trend last year. So trends and visuals are always changing, so it's very important to stay up to date on what the trends are so you can incorporate that into your strategy as well. And then video. So this is a stat that just came out. In 2017, video is going to account for 74% of all website traffic. So if you are an e-commerce brand or you're working with an e-commerce brand, it is now time to really start thinking about your video content strategy. And it doesn't mean that you need to spend, tens of thousands of dollars producing high quality video. There are ways to produce video where you can actually do it pretty inexpensively. This is a screenshot here. Again, one of our clients is Premio. I know we've got Premio fans in the back. And Premio, we saw last year that the tasty videos, those BuzzFeed tasty videos, were trending all over Facebook, and they were getting so much engagement. So we went directly to our client and we said, we need to create videos like this, like the tasty videos. These are the trends, but we don't need to work with Tasty or BuzzFeed and spend $1 million doing a video series with them. We can do it for, $25,000. We can produce all of these videos and make really great content for you and drive a ton of traffic to your website. So our client got very excited about that. We did a 2-day shoot and we produced about 20 videos that we could then use over the course of the year. And once the videos were done, when we uploaded them onto Facebook with only a few $100s of ad spend, this one here got over 1 million views. So if you produce really great content, and again, you don't have to spend millions of dollars to do it, and you know how to promote that content to the right audience, you can get a lot of traction. So that's just one example there. And now for live video. Who here has ever gone live on Facebook? Anyone? All right, a few people here. So Facebook Live last year became a pretty big hit, and a lot of brands are really starting to use Facebook Live. And at Socialfly, whenever a new social media trend happens, we're always first to try it out as an agency to see how it works. We always practice what we preach with our clients. So back, I think it was in July, we started doing a weekly Facebook Live show called Social Live. So you guys can all tune in. It's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. We did it today. It's still on the Facebook page. And what we do is we talk about all the trending news in social media and everything you need to know to stay up to date on social media. And then we always feature a food item that's trending of the week, and really other breaking social media news to position ourselves as experts and also show our clients we know what we're doing and we can do this for the clients that we're working with. So when we promote our content in each week, we're only spending sometimes $50, sometimes $100 promoting our live, and we can get tens of thousands of views. So again, you don't have to spend tens of thousands or millions of dollars to really target your exact audience and put the right piece of content in front of them. So highly recommend doing live video, but making sure that it makes sense for the brands that you're working with and figuring out what that strategy is. So now we know what type of content we're creating, we know who we're targeting, we know what platforms we're focusing on, so you have this beautiful content calendar, but now how do you measure the success of your campaigns? So it's very important to analyze what you're doing to see if it's working, if it's not working, so you can always constantly adjust your strategy based on the results that you're getting. So what we do at Socialfly with our clients is after a month's worth of content, we provide our clients with these monthly reports to go over exactly what's being accomplished and then what we need to adjust in the strategy based on the results. So with Facebook ads, we're constantly doing A/B testing. We're testing different content pieces with different copy and really deciding which audience is performing the best with which piece of content. The other thing that's really great with testing is that you can see which ads are driving the most conversion. So for our e-commerce clients, For some of them, we're able to see that for every dollar we're spending on Facebook, we're generating $5 in sales. So that means if we're spending $20,000 a month on Facebook, we're generating $100,000 in revenue. So those are the types of numbers for e-commerce brands our clients obviously really like to see. So it's very important, and this would be a 3-hour presentation on Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising, so I just wanted to do a brief overview and just really highlight that it's very important that you're measuring what you're doing so you can always continue to update your strategy based on what's happening there. And that is the end of the presentation, so I really hope I was able to shed some light, an overview of social media, what you should be focusing on, and what you guys can be doing either with the brands you're working with, or if you're business owners and are looking to start out on social media, which I know some of you mentioned. You first start with a strategy, and then you guys can definitely do it and start to execute. So thank you guys so much, and I'm happy to take questions now.
For the people who want to create their own digital marketing agency, what would you recommend? What are the top 3 or 5 things you would recommend?
If you want to start a social media agency, what would I recommend? I can tell you what I did. So when Courtney and I first started our company, we were working full-time. And we started our agency on the side of our full-time job. So we took on a few clients on the side of our full-time job, and after about 10 months of working nights and weekends, we realized that we either had to go all in and do our agency full-time, or we couldn't do it because it really is it's a full-time job to start an agency. So we actually quit our jobs on the same day in May of 2012, and we never looked back, but we had built up a little bit of a client pipeline first before we quit our jobs and left corporate America. So I would say if you can, if you're starting on your own, make sure that you have at least some clients that you can have ready to go before you just dive in and do it, and have a plan, but also be willing to adapt, that everything's not going to go according to plan. Like, we didn't have an actual business plan when we started our business. We just started and kind of figured everything out as we went along. I would say if you can, what's really helped our agency be successful is that Courtney and I have a business partner, and we have completely opposite skill sets. So I'm able to really focus on our sales and marketing, and Courtney focuses on the operations and finance. And as we've grown, now we've been able to build out a full management team. But when we started out and it was just the two of us, we were really able to divide and conquer. So if it's just you, it's definitely a lot harder because you're going to have to sell and you're going to have to do the work. So I think about having a business partner, and if you don't want to have a business partner, you guys are great. So make sure you guys have opposite skill sets so you're not overlapping in what you do. And then surround yourself with other entrepreneurs who are going through similar things so you guys can bounce ideas off each other. And having a great lawyer, accountant, all of the main resources that you need when you start a business, I would highly recommend that. Yeah.
What do you say is the biggest difference between Facebook ads and
So the biggest difference with Facebook and Instagram ads, with Instagram, people are spending most of their time on the phone. So now with Instagram ads, since people can click through to buy, you know that they're going to be on mobile. Whereas on Facebook, with a lot of our brands, we'll run desktop-only ads because we want them to only be purchasing when they're on their laptop or on their desktop. So you want to make sure if you are going to be running mobile ads or on Instagram ads that you have a really great web experience. Otherwise, you can spend all this money on Instagram ads and send all this traffic to your website, and you wonder why people aren't converting. So yeah, and it's a younger demographic on Instagram. So again, if you want to reach moms, they are all over Facebook. They're there. They're not going anywhere. So yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking. Just curious regarding you mentioned the A/B testing.
Yes.
Just curious regarding to the best practices that you apply. Are you using any sort of automation system?
We do have software, so we have an ads expert who runs everything. So I'm happy to set up a call with her, and she can explain things to you if you would like that. But yeah, we do have a software. What is it? What's it called?
Ad software?
Yeah.
Adspresso.
I think it's Adspresso that we use, yeah. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it is. Isn't that bad? Yes. With Facebook, yes.
Yeah, it's true, but I think you have to have a budget of about 1,500 or something like that. What would you recommend?
That's a really good question. So you really do need, if you're going to do real testing on Facebook, we tell our clients minimum they should be spending $10,000 a month for the first 3 months for testing, minimum. Can you do testing with a smaller budget? You can, but you're not going to see those really big results. I mean, if you have $1,000, $2,000, and you want to do some small tests, you can, but you're not going to be able to test out, 5 different audiences. You'll be able to start with, probably 1 or 2 audiences that you can test with different creative and different copy, but you're not going to be able to test out lots of different audiences with a really small budget. But as I was mentioning before, a small budget can still go a long way. Yes, in the back.
I'm from the nonprofit space. How are you seeing nonprofits coming through?
Yeah, so we're actually working with a few nonprofits right now, and as everyone here has probably seen, nonprofits can do very well on social media, especially with Facebook advertising, because their advertising platform is unbelievable. I'll give you an example. So I actually was diagnosed with MS back about a little over 5 years ago. So I've done some work with the National MS Society and the Tisch MS Research Center, and I helped the Tisch MS Research Center with a campaign. They were doing an Indiegogo campaign to raise money for stem cell research. So essentially what I helped them do was reverse engineer this campaign to figure out how many people I needed to reach on Facebook to get a certain number of donations, and they ended up raising, I think it ended up being like close to $200,000, and Facebook ads were a really big component of that, and again, they didn't have to spend that much money, but you have to figure out how many people you need to reach and how many people need to click through to get the numbers that you're looking for, but the reason why Facebook is so great is you can target on Facebook. If we're running a campaign where you want people to donate for MS research, you can target people on Facebook who already like the MS Society, who already like groups on Facebook that have to do with MS, so they're the ones that are seeing the content that's in front of them, and since it applies to them, and it will resonate with them, they would be interested in clicking through and then hopefully donating. So nonprofits can kill it with fundraising on social media. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes.
What do you see as the biggest upcoming trend right now?
The biggest upcoming trend, I would say live video. Brands are really trying to figure out how to leverage live video, and Snapchat as well for the brands that are looking to reach millennials. Everyone's trying to figure out how to make Snapchat work for their business, but we'll see what happens with their IPO. But definitely live video. I think the entire Facebook newsfeed is, by the end of this year, is only going to be video, is my prediction.
What are usually the best times to post on Instagram?
Honestly, it depends. You have to play around with it and do testing. It depends on who your audience is. If most of your audience is in California or in another country, you need to figure out what times they're spending their time on Instagram. If you are set up as a business account on Instagram, then you can advertise. So it really doesn't necessarily matter when you post, because if you're advertising to them, you're targeting the right people, they're going to see it. But it's a lot of testing and playing around with seeing, what the best time to post is and when you get the most engagement. For Socialfly, we see that early in the morning when we post on our accounts, when people are commuting to work, or at the end of the day after work is better. But if you post in the middle of the day, and for our business, most people aren't sitting on their phone, while they're working, sort of. In the back, yes?
Yeah, for your agency, what's your particular kind of clients that you prefer to work with and
Yeah, so at Socialfly, we work with all different types of clients. When Courtney and I first started the business, we were like, we're going to work with all of these fashion and beauty brands because that's what we're into. But what happened was, when we first started a business, we were taking the clients that were coming to us and we started working with them. We started doing a really great job and the strategies were working, so they were referring us to their friends and to other people. And something that we've done at Socialfly is we've invested a lot of time in our own marketing. So if you Google social media agency or social media agency NYC, we're #1 organically on Google. So now the majority of our leads are inbound leads of brands that are looking for social media services. So most of the clients that are coming to us now are much larger brands. than when we first started. So we're working with a lot of CPG brands. We work with a lot of e-commerce fashion companies. We work with a few nonprofits. We work with some education companies. The budgets of the clients that we're working with now, our retainers start at around $10,000 a month and go up, really just depending on the level of service. And then we see our clients are investing anywhere from $5,000 a month in ad spend up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in ad spend. So it really just depends on their business goals and what they're looking to do.
And talking about influencers, how do you actually identify that you reach out to them well that resonate with all?
Yeah, that was a great question. So she was asking about influencers and how do we know who to reach out to. So we have a database of influencers that we work with because they've applied to be a Socialfly influencer. So on our website, actually if you Google influencer agency NYC, I think we're number 1 or number 2 on Google for that as well. So influencers, they're looking to get connected to agencies so they can get work. So they'll search influencer agency, they'll find us, and then they'll submit their application to go into our database. So then when we're working with a brand, we can say, oh, we're looking to reach a mommy blogger to promote Premio sausages. This person has 50,000 followers on Instagram. That's going to be the right fit for them, and their audience is also moms between 25 and 35, so we have all of that data. We also have another software that we use where we can put in our influencers' Instagram account or other social accounts, and our software will tell us who the followers are of the influencer. Because what we've seen with brands before, we've had brands come to us and are like, oh, we tried influencer marketing, it didn't work. We say, well, what did you do? Oh, well, we contracted this influencer and she had 1 million followers and she posted about us, but then nothing happened. So then I went in and said, well, you were looking to reach women in this demographic, but this influencer, all of her followers are men because she's posting photos of herself on the beach. So you worked with the wrong influencer. So it's really important that you're strategic and can be sure that you're working with the right influencer for your brand based on your goals. Where? Back there?
You had a question, right? Yeah, he's raising his hand.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good question. You talked about how brands use flat rates.
Yes.
And that was like the last year trend or something, right?
Yes.
No, there's a new
The new trends in
flat rates,
photos.
or that's still.
Well, flat lays are still very popular. What is the newest trend? I would say on Instagram that brands are having very cohesive feeds. So you'll see a feed where all the photos have a pink overlay for 9 posts, and then you'll see orange, and then you'll see blue, where brands want a consumer to go to their page and feel like their whole Instagram feed is beautiful. So you're starting to see a lot more of that. Yeah.
Talked about the database and the software that we're reaching the database follows more audience. Have you ever touched the personal privacy? I mean, the personal privacy for the followers.
You mean if the people are private?
Yeah.
If the followers of the influencer are private, does the software read that?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I don't know. That's a good question though. Sorry. That's good.
Do you think that popular crowdfunding sites like Indiegogo, Kickstarter can be used as a marketing leverage?
Oh yes, I think they can definitely be used. And I think if you were to launch an Indiegogo campaign or a crowdfunding campaign, using social media is what's going to help you actually get funded. So something that I've seen with a lot of brands who are looking to fundraise through those platforms is that you have to have a social media strategy. So has anyone here ever done a crowdfunding campaign? Anyone? Some people? Yes. Did you use social media?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to. Because otherwise, how else is anyone going to find out about you? Exactly. So you do need to have a strategy, and it's similar to what I was talking about with the nonprofit, how they did an Indiegogo campaign. You really have to reverse engineer how much money you're looking to raise, and then how many people do you need to reach, and then click through to your campaign to actually get funded. And if anyone is looking to launch a fundraising campaign, before you launch it to the public, make sure you've already raised some funds in there, because no one wants to be the first person to put $1 into your campaign.
So what is the oldest, like if you want to reach people in their 40s, 50s, 60s?
They're on Facebook. Yeah, you can just focus on Facebook then. Yeah.
I have two questions.
Sure.
First, where do you actually go for your research? And then second, what certification do you have?
What certifications for social media? Well, Facebook has a blueprint certification program that you can do now. Have you done that?
I don't know what that is.
It's so you can learn everything about Facebook and their advertising. And I think, is that free? I think it might be free on
Yeah,
Facebook,
it's free.
their blueprint certification program. Getting certified, Google Analytics, certified by Google Analytics, that's important. Huh?
As many as you know. And research, what do you source your research?
Yeah, I mean, so as a social media agency, social media, as you guys know, changes literally every single day. So you have to stay on top of all of the changes. So we're constantly on TechCrunch and Mashable and of course, all of the big blogs. And then a lot of the consulting agencies, they write very nice reports that you can look into as well. If you email me, I can send them to you. There you go. Yes, in the back. Yes.
I have a question. Sure. First question is, how do you set up because some integration, they may ask that $1,000.
I couldn't hear the question. How do you set up what?
Set up the budget.
Oh, how do you set up the budget?
For integration, like if you outreach integration, they sometimes they call more price. So how do you figure out the budget?
So how do you figure out what to pay influencers?
Yes.
Okay, so depends on who you're working with, what their following is. So what we do is when influencers apply to our database, we ask them what brands they've worked with in the past, what their rates are. Typically, a lot of them are negotiable. When some of these influencers are up and coming, a lot of them will work with you because they want to become a brand ambassador to get the exposure and the experience, and they'll do it for a product exchange, like with the Vera Bradley example. We sent a really nice bag. I think they were around $300. But you know, influencers charge all different rates, and what you really need to look at if you're going to pay them, you need to first analyze who their followers are, what their engagement looks like, what success have they had working with other brands. So you can say, you know, if you're an e-commerce company and you're looking to drive sales, you need to talk to the influencer and say, what have you done for a similar company before? What were the results? So then you can determine what that could be worth to your brand. But sometimes it's not just about working with these influencers so they can drive all of these sales for you. It's also about getting really great content. So something that can be very expensive is producing photo shoots for brands all of the time. It's very expensive. But if you are able to create, let's say, a brand ambassador program for your company where you can, you know, work with 20 brand ambassadors over the course of the year, and every month or every few months you're sending them product, and you require that they, you know, post, I'm making this up, post once a month on Instagram, but all of these influencers, they have to take, you know, 10 photos every time to get one photo. They can then send you photos that then you can use on your accounts as well. But you can work out all different types of deals and relationships with them. It just depends on what you're looking to accomplish. So the long answer there is it depends. You just have to figure out what you're looking to do first. And then
So my second question is about how do you create Facebook? Like something like if I have an e-commerce client, they want to see that Facebook really helps it for the conversion rate.
Right.
So what kind of a report you can generate that? And also, you can tell them that this work, right?
So for our clients, I mean, we customize these, you know, extensive reports for our clients so they can see, you know, what every single post is producing. For one of our e-commerce clients, we literally show them, you spent this much on the post, it generated this amount in sales, this was the click-through rate, so they see everything. You can get a lot of that data through Facebook and then create your own report, but I would say you need to ask the client what's most important for them to see. And then you have to create a strategy and then do testing. So I could speak to you after and give you more details. It's just a little more, it's a bit complicated. Yes?
How many posts do you recommend for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for this?
So that's another answer where it depends. So the first thing I would do would be to look at what your competitors are doing, or industry leaders, and see how often they're posting. and see what type of content appears to be working well, what type of content isn't getting any engagement, and see, and really analyze your competitors first, and then you can try to make a strategic recommendation based on what everyone else in the industry is doing. With Facebook, unless you have a budget to promote your content, you don't need to post every single day on Facebook. And even if you do have a budget, it doesn't mean you need to post every single day on Facebook. You have to put spend behind each piece of content on Facebook because it's pay to play now. Whereas on Instagram, if you're using the right hashtags and you have a really great, strategy to get new followers, you don't have to advertise on Instagram. You can grow your following organically by posting relevant content every day or even multiple times a day. So first look and see what your competitors are doing, and then that will help guide you to start.
Since Instagram will not launch its stories, would you still recommend if you have the same audience?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So
already has an Instagram account, why should they go?
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. So it depends on, again, who you're looking to reach. There is a very similar audience on Instagram and on Facebook. As a brand, if you've already invested a lot of time growing your Instagram following, you will see that if you start using Instagram stories, your engagement is probably going to be a lot higher than it is on Snapchat. So definitely, test it and see what's going to work best for your brand. But absolutely, with most of our clients, we're really heavily focusing on Instagram stories because we've already spent years building their Instagram following. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Going back to influencers, how do you distinguish influencers who are buying your followers from the ones who look at it?
It's a really great question. And for anyone who couldn't hear, how do you figure out if someone's buying their Instagram followers? It's actually pretty easy to tell. If someone has 100,000 followers on Instagram and they're getting 30 likes, people are posting all of these comments in different languages and they look like bots, they're probably buying their followers. So look at the comments, look at what the engagement looks like, and you should be able to tell pretty easily. I call myself the fake follower police. Anyone who hasn't asked a question yet, did you ask them?
So which media the new mom use the most?
New moms, Facebook, yeah. Yes.
So I think there's a delicate balance of keeping just the right amount of information on your post and keeping it still simple, and there's definitely a limited space to do what you want to do and what's seen. What do you recommend? How do you juggle that balance properly?
What type of company or brand?
So I have a podcast.
Oh, for your podcast. How are you promoting it right now?
So promoting it on Instagram and through networking and a little bit of Facebook.
Who's your target audience for the podcast?
All New Yorkers, volunteers. So it's more of a geo audience than an age audience.
Let's talk after.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
How much would you be charging the audience for initial calls that get you acquisition?
Say it one more time, I couldn't.
How much would be you charging for Nutter to take care responsibility for all media?
Oh, how much do we charge our clients?
Yes.
So our starting price starts at $10,000 a month for social media management, but it's customized based on what the client needs. Because some of our clients are paying $10,000 a month, some of our clients are paying 30, 40, 50, it depends.
It's not paid on the community, so everybody knows that.
On the communities?
Yeah, it is smaller.
Well, if it's smaller, then you have to do a lot of work to grow it. So, yeah. So when our clients work with us, they work with a team of at least 3 or 4 on our team. So they have a dedicated community manager, an account manager, an account director. They get hours from our graphic designer, our ads team. So it's, really instead of hiring one person full-time in-house, then you think they can manage your social media because they just graduated from college and use social media. You really need experts who know what they're doing to be able to create beautiful content, to be able to optimize your ads, to be able to run campaigns, to copyright for you. So that's why companies work with agencies like ours, so they get a whole team and they have all of those skill sets in one place. In the back, yes?
You're an incredible success story. You exceeded your expectations.
Have I exceeded my expectations? I'm just getting started, but thank you. Thank you. Just a lot of hard work. But thank you.
And what are the 3 biggest issues you face when starting and growing
Three biggest issues when we first started. Well, when we first started our company, the name of our company was Collective Media. And I think it was about 3 months into being called Collective Media, we received a cease and desist letter from a company called The Collective. And it was just me and Courtney at the time. We get this letter from an attorney and we're like, oh my God, our lives are over. Like, they're gonna sue us and we need to shut down our business. So luckily, we had Courtney's best friend Susie had also started a business and worked with an attorney. So she referred us to David, who's now one of our advisors, and he said, I'll get back to them. It's probably going to make sense for you to change your name. You could fight it, but it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars to fight it. It's not worth it. So for about a month, we were trying to figure out what our new name would be, and this is when a negative situation can turn into something positive. And I had a moment at night, and it just hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, Socialfly, and then that was our new name. So that was our first, I would say, hardship when we first started, was realizing that you really need to do a trademark search before you start a business, so you don't run into situations like that. So that was my first piece of advice. And what else was hard? Really just growing and scaling a team. It's definitely not easy. It takes a lot of hard work. My background was sales and marketing. Courtney came from the finance world. She worked at Amex and worked at an insurance agency. And neither of us, had experience managing a growing team. So really learning to become not only great managers, but great leaders, so we could continue to inspire the team that we were building. And, when we first started, it was just the two of us. So then we had, 5 interns our first summer, and then we hired our first employee. And then that was exciting. And then we hired our second employee, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. And then really learning how to scale a growing agency, because neither of us had agency background. So if you're starting an agency, and you haven't worked in the agency world, I would say, make friends with someone who's in the agency world so you can get a lot of insight ahead of time, because we've learned as we've grown our business, and we've surrounded ourselves with some really great mentors and other business owners. And now as we're really growing out our management team, we're bringing in people from other agencies who have the experience that we didn't have when we first started. That's a really great question, and I was going to mention to everyone, we have several open positions at Socialfly. So I know some of you here mentioned, someone said they were a project manager, they were looking for a job, we're looking for a project manager, someone else said they were looking for a job. So definitely go to our website, socialflyny.com/careers, and it has all of our open positions on there. So what we look for are, one, what's most important to me, someone with a positive can-do attitude that's a problem solver. I always say to everyone, and Caitlin can tell you, I say, don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. So we look for people that can problem solve and really figure out how to get things done. Courtney and I started this business. We're entrepreneurs. We've really built a team full of people with an entrepreneurial mindset. So we look for potential employees who will look at Socialfly like it's their own business. And we tell all of our clients, when we work with our clients, we look at their business and we treat their business as if it's our own business. What's worked for us could potentially work for them, and we want to, get them the best results for the least amount of spend. So yeah, does that answer your question? Awesome.
How do you market?
How do I market? All right, I'm going to sell you guys again. Pay attention, guys. So something that we've done from the beginning, and actually the reason why that company called The Collective found us is because we were using social media, and by using social media and doing it right and using Google Plus and blogging, for us it was very easy to rank on Google for social media agency because we knew what we were doing. So we have a blog, we post blog content every week. We are using the right keywords on our blog on the back end of our WordPress site so that Google can find us. We also have invested in doing our own PR. So Courtney and I are often featured on entrepreneur.com, on Fox and Friends, on Bloomberg. So we put ourselves out there and doing awesome events like this so people find out about us. We're active on all social platforms. On Instagram, we really use Instagram as a recruiting tool and really post pictures behind the scenes of what it's like to work at Socialfly. So often when we're meeting with prospective employees at Socialfly, they basically already know everything about us, which I love because they know that they want to work there because they see what the culture is like at our company. On Twitter, we use Twitter to position our agency and myself and Courtney as experts in the industry and experts in social media. And on Facebook, we're of course sharing our blog content and driving a lot of traffic to our website, but we also now do our weekly Facebook Live show called Social Live. And that's actually been very successful for us because what we're finding is that when I go into new business meetings, the people that we're meeting with, they've already gone on and looked at all of our social media and tell me that they're watching our show, and now they see that we already know everything about social media, so we're the agency that they want to work with, so it definitely builds a lot of credibility. Oh, yes.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for the program.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming.
And I'm at Brooklyn College. Now, when I go back, we have an excellent CIS program. We're at the top in the city. We have we teach at the Division of Robotics. I will be talking to one of my professors and friends I messed up with, David Arnold. He'll be happy to hear from you. You're still looking for career professionals, graduates from Brooklyn College. So www.socialfly.com careers.
Socialflyny.com.
ny.com careers. I'm out the job market. I've seen the 80s, the hardcore. I work at home, so I don't have to use the yellow pages as much as I do. Like you had to use yellow pages and codes directly for sales and telemarketing. That's it. But I will be telling my students at Brooklyn College to come talk to you for careers, okay?
Absolutely, please do. Thank you.
Would you come to Brooklyn College for a discussion one day, or?
Email me or call me. We can try to set something up.
I'll be glad to get it back to CIS department, all right?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Last question? Last one, anyone?
Thanks, guys. Thank you.